So the Amazfit BIP comes with some improvements and a brand new spec sheet, but in this video let's find out if these improvements actually make any meaningful difference in the real life usage. I'll try to cover all the important stuff like the display and the new GPS chips lock times and also the user interface and the performance and overall health tracking system. So basically everything you should know. So guys, if you are new to the channel, subscribe and also like this video. Let's begin. So let's start with some obvious changes like the looks and design. So if you look at them side by side, it's really hard to tell them apart, and you can see almost same thickness and they look really close. I mean almost exactly the same. But if you look at the back side, you will find the sensor placement is different and the sensor area is kind of bigger on the BIP. Let's see if this change actually translates to any sort of real life improvements. Even the chargers look almost the same. The left one is the BIP charger, but I find it slightly better compared to the original BIP because I find it easier to mount the watch on the charger. So now the BIP comes with Bluetooth 5 and also 5 ATM water rating, which is missing on the Amazfit BIP. I would say the water rating is definitely a great improvement. For swimmers, it is a very good news. And the new Sony's GPS chip is definitely faster. As you can see, I'm trying to start a workout and you can see here that the GPS lock times are much faster compared to the BIP. As you can see, the BIP is almost done here, whereas BIP is still finding the location. So definitely it is faster, and not just that, it is definitely more efficient in terms of battery. So that's really good news. Now let's talk about the display. I find some interesting things here. In terms of brightness, the BIP gives the impression that it is a little bit brighter. Maybe because if you look at the blacks, it is actually more darker, and you have the deep blacks on the BIP compared to the more sort of grayish or washed out look on the BIP, as you can see. And if you're confused, the left one is the BIP and the right one is the BIP. So I applied the same watch face on either of them, and if I go back to the home screen, you can see the same watch face and you can see the difference. There is quite a lot of difference here. If you look at the colors, definitely the colors look a lot better on the BIP. They did not really increase the resolution, but definitely improved the overall panel, and maybe because of that white color gamut, it looks a lot better. But having said that, it shouldn't matter much because you're not going to really consume content on these fitness watches. What matters more is the sunlight visibility, and here they both perform just great with those transflective displays. The UI feels a bit more responsive on the BIP, but yes, the BIP is no slouch. It is very fluid and fast. Also, I personally like the old menu system with big icons compared to this new list sort of thing, but it is a personal preference. But one thing we cannot ignore is the fact that the controls on the home screen are very handy and is definitely an improvement over the Amazfit BIP. And yes, finally they have added the music control feature, which is very easy to access and works really well. I personally prefer this watch over the Bluetooth earphones controls, so yeah, it's a very good addition. However, there isn't much improvement in terms of notifications. You can either reject the calls or silent the calls, and even the messages, it's pretty much the same. I didn't find any sort of improvements. So to test the health tracking, I did a workout wearing both of these, one on the left and one on the right, as they actually support wearing on the right wrist as well. I found some interesting results. If you especially look at the distance traveled, you can see there is quite a bit of difference, almost 300 meters difference. But if you look at the steps, they are almost close, as you can see, about 50 steps difference, which is very minor. And if you look at the calories, again, 36 versus almost 70, so that's again a huge difference. But if you look at the heart rate zones and the pace, it is very similar. So the takeaway here is that both the step counting and the heart rate sensing is very similar, but the way they calculate the calories and the distance is a lot different. As to which one is more accurate, especially the distance, I'll try and probably cover that in the full review of the Amazfit BIP, so stay tuned. Also, I did sleep tracking a couple of days with the BIP, and both the sleep times and also the wake up times were very accurate as usual, but I didn't really find any sort of improvement over the BIP. In terms of app support, the BIP S uses the Amazfit app, whereas the BIP uses the MiFit app, and both of them look very similar, and the UI and overall the customizations are very similar. However, you have the local watch faces support where you can store some of the watch faces on the MiFit app, which is missing on the Amazfit app for some reason. In terms of battery, both of them claim about 40 days of battery life, but because of that Sony's new GPS chip, the BIP S should actually consume less battery, especially when you are using that GPS frequently on a daily basis. Otherwise, both of them should last at least about 10 to 15 days, even with a bit of heavy usage. I'll try and add more details about the battery life in the coming full review of the BIP S. So the real question is, should you upgrade from the BIP to the BIP S? Personally, I wouldn't go out and buy the BIP S if I already have the BIP, but if I am in the market to buy a good fitness watch under 5,000 rupees, I would personally pick the BIP S over any other fitness watch in this price range. There are all types of wearables, decent to even terrible, which are being hyped and marketed heavily, but let's not get into that. And that's been it for this video, guys. If you found it helpful, please like this video, also subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.